Okay, John, go ahead and explain this if you would.
Okay, this is a change to the entire Maqueen line tracker code. It's not perfect yet, but it's the first step where we've gotten it working. One of the factors that we wanted was to make it so we can stop it when we feel like. So we're using a remote, and with the iRemote, it will stop it. It shows the stop sign on the car, and then when it automatically started on its own that time. But it's partly tracking correctly now. Once it gets off of a certain point where it doesn't know where it is and it gets to just all white, it starts seeking mode, and that's where it does the turning. And it seems to track mostly correctly coming this direction right now. My goal is to get it so it can track either direction.
Are you going to also try to, you've got a lot of buttons to work with there, are you also going to try to turn left and right with the button?
Yeah, now that we've got it so it can receive it while it's doing the line tracking, then the next step will be to have it where we can stop it and then tell it go back to the line by directing it with buttons.
Now we think we can use any TV, radio type remote that uses IR.
Yep.
And we have to determine which button on that remote corresponds to which number that we're putting in the code, because it's going to send a number depending on the button push.
Yes.
So that's a separate step from what you've done here. So we're going to include the program code in the description of this video, both for driving the bot car and also for finding the number on the remote.
So I don't know if you want me to explain the code a little bit.
We can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Girls, we're doing a video. We're going to listen to an explanation here of the code.
Okay. So the forever loop has at the outer part a variable that is a logical variable. It's either true or false. If it's true, then it's going to do this first segment, which is the line tracking code. If it's false, it then goes down to this else condition here, and if it's false, it goes to the else, which is to display the stop sign, and then stop the wheels, pauses for 5,000 seconds, and then allows you to press the button and go back again and keep moving. We may change this, reduce the time, for example, to have it be a little more responsive.
Instead of 5 seconds, down to something less than 5.
Say 1 second, for example,
okay,
for the next time. The way that we test that is we have a interrupt type of, in this case, on IR received. The value that's received is put into the variable message, and then we're testing message. If it's greater than 0, then we'll do something. If it's 0 or less, then we're skipping and not doing anything at that point.
We had an issue with kind of random zeros.
Yes.
And so we decided to try to minimize that, let's say, by using that block.
So then, if it is something greater than 0, we're looking at key values. Right now, we're only looking at message equals 69, which is on the remote is the start-stop button.
Right. On this particular remote, a different remote
may be completely different. Yes.
Correspond different numbers.
So if we receive that, then we toggle the value of run to either be false or true. So that's how we stop that run loop.
Right.
So the forever loop is still doing itself, still doing it. Now we occasionally seem to get sporadic cases where it is receiving the button push again, going through the code and turning it back on without us pushing the button. So we're not quite sure on that, what's going on there.
Okay, we'll study this more.
Then the rest of the code in the upper part we won't go into today.
Right.
Because it's where I'm developing it, phases, where if it's tracking left and it's working correctly, it'll stay on track, but if it gets off track, then how do you respond to that?
All right, we'll explain that in another video. All right, thanks a lot for that, John.
Yeah.
There'll be more.